Eddie Murphy rules over Rick Ross' Atlanta area mansion in Coming to America. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to Millionaire Hideouts. And click that notification bell so you don't miss a video. They say you can't go home again. But occasionally, thanks to Hollywood magic, you can. Well, virtually, at least. Last week, Coming to America, fans got to do just that when Amazon Prime dropped Coming to America, the long-awaited sequel to the 1988 comedy classic. According to The Wrap, the flick became the most-watched streaming film since movie theaters closed due to COVID-19 nearly a year ago, proving that the tale of lovable Zamundan royal Akeem Joffer, Eddie Murphy, and his faithful sidekick, Semi, Arsenio Hall, is timeless. Something else that appears to be timeless? Murphy, Hall, and their co-star Shari Headley, aka Akeem's wife, Lisa, who seem not to have aged a day since filming wrapped on the original 33 years ago. Set in the fictional African nation of Zamunda as well as Queens, New York, the new film sees freshly minted King Akeem briefly returning to the States to track down his long-lost son, Lavelle Junson, Jermaine Fowler, and bringing him home to prepare him to become heir to the throne. Though the original movie was lensed in New York and Los Angeles, Coming to America was shot entirely in Atlanta, Georgia and its environs. The film's most memorable locale is easily the opulent Zamundan palace where Akeem lives with his family. The bad news? It doesn't actually exist. Quite a bit of location trickery was employed to create the fictional estate. For many of the segments involving the Joffers pad, producers utilized a massive mansion about 15 miles outside of Atlanta. Known as Villa Vittoriosa, Italian for victorious villa, the property has quite the celebrity pedigree. The sprawling residence, which boasts 12 bedrooms and 21 bathrooms in an incredible 44,234 square feet, was originally built in 1994 for four-time heavyweight boxing champion Evander Holyfield. Set far off the road at the end of a winding tree-lined driveway, the lavish digs are chock full of countless upscale amenities befitting a boxing great, not to mention the fictitious royal family of Zamunda. Designed by PFVS Architects, the mansion houses a 135-seat movie theater, a dining room with a 100-person capacity and both an indoor and outdoor pool. The latter holds an incredible 350,000 gallons of water. The largest single-family residence in all of Georgia, the New York Times states, immense and opulent, the home seems fit for a king. Surrounded by a colossal 105 acres, outdoor features include a pond, a horse barn and a 4,000-square-foot guest house. There are also plenty of sports-related amenities to be found on the premises, such as a softball field, handball and tennis courts, a bowling alley and a boxing gym (OBVS). With greatness comes great responsibility, though. And with a hefty mansion comes hefty operating costs, which Holyfield soon discovered. According to the Times, the boxer shelled out $1 million a year to run the place. His Christmas lights alone ran him a whopping $16,000 annually. A man after Clark W. Griswold's own heart. The massive upkeep costs, as well as several other financial pitfalls, proved too great for Evander and he wound up losing the property to foreclosure in July 2012. It was subsequently purchased by rapper Rick Ross for $5.8 million in 2014. Ross seems to have quite a good gig going when it comes to filming on the premises, charging production companies up to $2.75 million for shoots. And location managers have to pay to even scout the property. Ross stated on Instagram, "It's not free to come check out the estate. 20 people are wanting to see it a day, every day. So what we do is charge people to come look at it and there's still 18 people that want to come a day." As it turns out, Coming to America is Ross' favorite comedy, so having the sequel film at his house was more than just a financial boon. The movie made extensive use of the mansion, utilizing 7 rooms on the premises including a second-floor bedroom above, which production designer Jefferson Sage and set decorator Doug Mowat dressed considerably to portray Akeem and Lisa's royal suite, outfitting the space with regal curtains, foliage, screens and an elevated canopy bed. The mansion's elongated dining room played itself on screen, hosting an awkward family dinner upon Lavelle's arrival in Zamunda. It, too, was outfitted with regal set dressing, including a humongous table that, according to Variety, Ross got to keep post-production. Leaf-patterned drapes and landscape murals also decorated the room. Foliage figured greatly into Sage's visual concept of the movie. He says, "So much of the story was written as happening inside the palace that I became worried about how we were going to miss that wonderful sense of the lush tropical Africa that identifies Zamunda. I hit on the idea of bringing the outside into the palace whenever possible, and making the outdoors a constant visual element. This is especially true of the dining room, where Sage explains he and his team created a mural of African plants and jungle, interspersed with birds and exotic creatures, that encircled the room as wallpaper, wrapping the action there in an artist's vision of the African jungle. Apparently, Ross was a big fan of the piece and left it intact after filming Wrapped. Fresh flowers also heavily played into the visual aesthetic. Sage explains, the same idea is carried into the myriad fresh flowers that dressed virtually every palace interior. From the opening, where the rose petal girls spread petals at the feet of the royal family, fresh and exotic flowers are a visual theme. Our rule was that all the flowers in the palace would be changed every day. So, anytime we went back to a set in the story, we needed all new flowers on display. Local Atlanta florist Robert Long was tasked with outfitting the set with the myriad blossoms, even going so far as to ship exotic flowers in from all over the world. As Sage says, in this palace, money is no object, and the flowers needed to reflect that. And, yes, it was quite expensive. But it made such a difference. The incredible blooms certainly do make an impact. The mansion's entrance foyer was also utilized in Coming to America, but it did not portray itself. Instead, it merely served as the central stairwell of the Joffa residence, where members of the family often congregated. The space that actually served as the palace's cavernous entrance art gallery was a set constructed inside of a soundstage at Areu Bros Studios in Atlanta, where many of the movie's interiors and most of the Queens, New York segments were lensed. The production also made use of stages at Tyler Perry Studios. Sage incorporated the gold leaf boiserie that can be found throughout the Ross estate into the set design to make the transition from the mansion's real rooms to the fabricated ones more seamless. The palace featured in the movie's opening, though, that doesn't exist in real life. It was strictly a CGI creation. In fact, aside from the brief image of the pool and a couple of other tight shots lensed outside the Ross mansion, all palace exteriors that appear in Coming to America were digital fabrications. Coincidentally, the Ross mansion appeared in another production involving an arranged marriage with a prince. In the Season 4 episode of Drop Dead Diva, titled Happily Ever After, which aired in 2012, it played the Los Angeles Bhutanese consulate where Jane Bingham, Brooke Elliott represents Leela Penjore, Nishi Munshi, in her quest to get out of marrying Prince Kencho, Danny Bouchabel. The Ross mansion also popped up as the home base for the Snow Patrol gang in the 2018 action film, Superfly.